Welcome to my channel. One of my goals for the month of February, really most of 2025, is to not buy yarn, at least until I get what I currently have in-house, like, controlled. To get to the point, I bought a lot of yarn, so much yarn that I decided it deserved its own haul video. My friend is getting married and I realized, oh my goodness, I need to buy yarn for her wedding project. I'm making her a blanket for her wedding. And when I went and bought the supplies for her wedding, what I wanted to make her didn't happen. So I had to like shift gears and make her something different. What I ended up making her, I fell in love with. So I decided to make one for myself after I finished, which I'm not finished with hers yet. I'm like 75–80% finished with hers. And when I was picking out the yarn for the version that I'm doing for myself, I went overboard. So let me show you what I'm making for her real quick. I am working on a 6-day star blanket for her that has all of these greens and browns and all of her favorite colors that is going to be huge. Like, we're talking queen to king size blanket big. And it has all of these soft yarns. Normally I generally just work with kind of generic big twist wait for yarn, but I decided to kind of mix it up, and that's why I had to go yarn shopping, is because I saw someone here on YouTube, and if I can find the video I will link it down in the description, who made a 6-day star blanket, and they used a lot of mixed media types of yarn, and I was like, oh my god, that came out so good. And I've never thought to do that before, and I want to do it. So I had to kind of basically buy yarn all from scratch, which I don't normally have to do. Normally I have quite a bit of yarn here, so I can make things work and only have to buy a little bit of yarn to fill in. I'll show you what I bought for her blanket, because that was bought in February, and then I'll show you all of the different things I've bought for my blanket, which will not all go into my blanket because I definitely went overboard. This is the 6-day star blanket. You can find the pattern here on YouTube. It is by Betty McNett. I freaking love this pattern. This is like, oh, I don't know, maybe the like 7th blanket that I've made like this. This one has so far has been my favorite, and I love it so much. I will be continuing to make them this way. I did make it with a 7mm hook. I am not a fan of this hook here. I bought it for this project because the brand that I like is the Susan Bates ergonomic hooks. They're the ones that look like this. They have the metal, which I really like, and then they have like the soft grip at the bottom. They do not sell 7mm. There's a lot of history behind 7mm. You can look it up if you want to, but they are like impossible to find. And so I did decide after working on this blanket that, one, I hate this hook. It's plastic, and so the yarn gets like caught on it a lot. So I treated myself to a really nice furls hook. It's the first time I've ever spent more than like $4 on a crochet hook. It's not here yet. I absolutely will show it once I get it, but it'll be my only hook that is like really expensive. That thing was expensive, and I figured it would be worth it because I freaking can't find a 7mm hook like anywhere. Unfortunately, they didn't have the metal one in stock, so I got the resin, and I'm hoping I will like it. If it's like a good hook, a good fit for me, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm in love with everything except I wish this was metal, then one day in the future I will save up and buy the metal one instead when it is in stock. But for now, this will last me a freaking long time. I think the 7mm is about to be my new favorite hook of all time. The first yarn up that I have for it is the Karen Simply Soft, and this is in the color Snow Sparkle. So if you can see, it does have some sparkle to it, and it's just like a really nice little pop of sparkliness to the blanket. It is currently attached to the blanket, so I can't like get this off my lap until I show you that one. So that was the first yarn I bought. I'm really happy with That one, it is super soft. You like don't feel the roughness of the sparkles in it at all. The rest, besides a few for that blanket, I am keeping in this bag here. The Red Heart Super Saver, and this is what it kind of looks like on the end. It is like a brown gradient, and it is in Latte Stripe, and it has a gorgeous, really nice brown striping to it, which I love how it's turning out on this blanket. With that, to kind of accent the browns, I did decide to get a Big Twist brown. This is in the color Toffee. I definitely won't be using up most of these yarns in this blanket, so there's a solid chance I make a second blanket that's pretty similar. And then I decided to get this one, which it fell off, but it is the Big Twist Value in Mountainside. I love this. It's got some dark blues, some blacks, some grays, some tans. It's kind of leaning into pink even a little bit, and it's just like a really nice, like kind of a quick gradient. You can see it's like almost speckled. I usually do not like these at all because they're like so fast to change color that they're like kind of meh on patterns, but mixing them in with other things where they're just kind of a row or two rows actually works out really well. And then with that, I decided to kind of get this pink, which is in the Big Twist Value Pale Peach. And I also decided to get the Karen 1 pound, which is in the color Off-White. And you can see the difference there where like this is really a peachy color and this is definitely like an off-white color, or more of like a tan color, I guess you could say. And also to keep matching that, I did decide to get the Big Twist in the color Navy as well. There you can kind of see in the light, it is a navy color. It is not a black color. I didn't want black, but I wanted like a darker color in the blanket as much as I could have. I also got 2 of the Karen Colorama Halos. I got the orangey one and the blue one. My Joann's does not carry a lot of these, so I was lucky to be able to even get any at all. But this is actually Harbor Frost, and this one is Beeswax Frost. As you can see, I've used a lot more of the beeswax than I've used of the Harbor Frost so far, but I will definitely be doing more rows of the Harbor Frost in the future. I got this color, which is, it is green. I don't know how well it'll focus. It is like a speckled green velvet yarn. It is Bernay blanket yarn, and this is in the color Winter Leaf. I actually really like how this looks, but this and the other velvet yarn that I got on this project are just a little bit thicker than I would have liked, and I'm kind of glad that I got to experiment with this right now because I knew that going into my next one. So my next velvet yarns, which you'll get to see, are a little bit thinner. These technically call for an 8mm hook, and I should have I was kind of like figuring this out as I was going, so, but I love this color. And I should mention my friend's favorite color is like dark green, like dark green. Like, I don't know how well you can see my walls in here, but like the color of my walls in this room. And so that's what I was aiming for, which these are the last 2 colors I got for her blanket, and these are kind of what I was building the whole entire blanket around. This one here is another Karen 1 pound, and it is the color that I'm trying to use the most of in the blanket, and this is in the color Hosta. It's not quite the right color. Her favorite color is a little bit darker and like a little bit more like emeraldy, not quite emerald itself, but it's just the closest out of the yarn I could find there, so it's what I could do. And then this one is Bernay blanket yarn, so it's really soft, and it is in Deep Sea. I will say, while I was at the store the other day, so those are all the ones that I bought my first trip to the store and what I've been using so far. I went back to the store to get a really nice box to wrap her present in so that I could like give it to her when it's not just like, oh, in a bag or something. And she loves mushrooms. She loves the color green, like I said, so this will be super cute. And ta-da! It's filled with yarn. And this isn't even all of the yarn, because give me a second. I also have this yarn, and I have this, which I had to order online. So there's still some more yarn to haul. When I went back to the store to get her box and like look through the yarn one last time at Joann's, because I was kind of like, yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to Joann's again. This will be my last trip. Like, let's say goodbye. I did look through the Bernay velvet yarn and I found a dark green, which is like way closer to her favorite color. And I'm not gonna be able to work it in the middle of the blanket, but I was like, oh, I will do the last few rows kind of as like a cap off in this. And I think it'll be perfect. And this is a lot thinner than the other velvet yarns that I've been doing. And oh, it's so freaking soft. So let me compare it for you. Like, look how much darker this is than this. She's gonna love it. This is, okay, Bernay Velvet in the color Pine. I have been texting her, like, she knows I'm making this gift for her. She doesn't know what the gift is. She knows I'm making something. She knows I know how to crochet, but she also knows I know how to like paint and sew and like do all these other things. So I think she's kind of figured out that I'm crocheting it because I did hint that I was going to be filming a lot of what I'm doing. But she definitely doesn't know what I'm making her. But I was hinting to her that I really like the outcome of what I'm doing, that I bought a box to keep it in, that I'm like almost ready to give it to her because her wedding's not for another little bit. I'm like going to give it to her early because I just want her to have it. She's getting excited. I'm getting excited. It's a grand old time. And I also should mention that she is just painted, like redid one of the rooms in her house. And it's basically this tan color. It's like an ivory color and it's a little bit different than this green. It's more of like a sagey green, but it's like really close to this color combo. And I'm so excited because like my plan was, I knew she loved green and tan and like nature and like cottage core vibes. I also knew she was painting that room in the house and I knew it was going to be like a tan ivory and like a green. But when she sent me the pictures, I actually saw them for the first time today of that room being like painted. I was like, oh my God, this blanket, that's like their guest room. This blanket would be perfect as like a guest room blanket. Let me show you all the rest of the yarn that I got. I'm gonna try to start, we'll come to what's in this box last because this is what I bought last. So I'll try to go somewhat in order. So I did a trip to Michael's first because I had like a really big Michael's voucher. I think it was like $15. So I have a Michael's, a Joann's, and a Hobby Lobby in my hometown. And that's it. We don't have like a small yarn store, and my Joann's is closing as far as I know. They haven't like officially announced it, but I'm pretty sure it's closing. So the Joann's has the most amount of yarn, the Hobby Lobby has the second most amount of yarn, and the Michael's has like barely any yarn. But I kind of refuse to support the Hobby Lobby. I've been there a few times if I'm like really desperate, but I hate it. I hate supporting them. You can look up online why if you want. I love the Joann's. I love it. They have a variety of yarn. They have like 3 or 4 aisles of yarn. My Michael's has like half an aisle of yarn. So I was like, okay, let me try to go to the Michael's before the Joann's closes and see what they have so I can try to get used to what my future is like. And they had some, and I was able to find some things, but it was not the same, guys. It was not the same experience. I was like definitely let down, and even like the aisles that I was going through, or it was like a half an aisle like on one side and then the other, and these are like really short aisles, and that was it. It was like one full aisle and they were like barely stocked, so there was like almost nothing there. I was just so let down. So these 2 bags are from Michael's, the online orders from Michael's, but the box that I'll show you at the end was to complement it because I felt like I needed some more things from Joann. The first 2 things I decided to pick up were some Bernay, it's called Fluffy, F-L-U-F-F-E-E yarn, and I decided to get it in this gray color, which is quartzite, and in this blue color, which, oh, I really love this blue color, which is Teal Appeal. Oh, and let me back up. My blanket that I'm making for myself, which will still be the star pattern made by Betty Magnets, is going to be galaxy themed. So when I first went in, my first thought was I'm going to do a lot of like gray, navy blues, and like violet purples but Michaels let me down really, really, really quickly, and I kind of had to shift, and it's definitely still going to be grays and blues. They didn't have a lot of like dark blues, so it's just kind of all blues, and then kind of maroons, which I love maroon. Maroon is my favorite color of all time, so I'm not mad at that, but I had to kind of shift my idea from like this violet-y blue colorway into all purples, all blues, gray, white, black. You'll get the gist when you see the colors. So those are the first two that I got. Then I picked up this Lupin thread, but it's skinny Chanel polyester. It's very soft. It kind of feels like a velvet yarn. And it is in the color, scan here for free pattern. I don't see the color name anywhere. Why am I? Oh, it's in the color multicolor panda or panda multi. I'm not sure which one is the English name, but it's got this gorgeous like white and then speckling. Anything I could find that reminded me of stars, I was grabbing. So that kind of reminded me of stars or like the moon, I was grabbing. So next in a very similar to that, actually very similar, it's Lupin threads, but it's petite pearl. It's a little bit less soft, but it's this purple, and this is in the shade purple. As you can see, it's a gorgeous kind of like mauve purpley color. I really love that color, but it's not the purple I was going for. And then I grabbed, which actually I think I have some of these already, the Karen Latte Cake in the color Blackberry. Hold up, I think I already have some of these. I do. I have 3 of these, which I was already saving for a blanket, which is fine. Whatever scraps I don't use from this one, because this will be saved specifically for that blanket, I will use on this blanket. Hee, I know what I liked. I grabbed Loops and Thread, their impeccable yarn, in the color Amethyst, which this is really close. I love this purple. This purple is like definitely in my tops. This is like what I was wanting originally when I was looking for purples. And then I got the Loops and Threads in the Facet. I know a lot of people don't like this yarn. I'm a fan of it. You just have to be very careful. You cannot frog this yarn. This is in the Violet. It's E-T-T-E at the very end, so it's got a lot of purples in it. And then I got another Lupin thread in the Impeccable, but this one is in Shadow Muline. Definitely kind of reminded me of stars. It's like a white, a gray, and a black swirl. I really like that one. And then I got Heartland in their, whatever their blue color is, Olympic. I really like the Heartland because it kind of has like a natural like color variation to it throughout. It's a very nice yarn to work with. And then I got a Lupin thread Impeccable in the color Navy, which I always run out of blue yarn in my house. I go through it so quickly, so this will be really nice to have even as scraps afterwards. And then I got a Super Saver Red Heart, and I'm guessing this is in the color Black. Yes, because I thought that would be really nice to have little accents of just pure black, because we're going for the night sky kind of a look. Then I decided to order online because that whole entire sale, even though I got Michael's voucher for like $15 off of all of that, got me another, I don't even remember, it might have gotten me like $10 voucher or something, so I decided to order online. Hey, my cat's eating that. Stop eating things. I decided to order the Karen Blossom Cakes, which has like this blue and red. I got 2 of them, and they're very, very soft. I love these yarns. And these are in the color Blue Geranium. Very, very pretty. So excited to use those. So next up we have Mega Yarn Haul. Yay! These are all now from Joann's moving forward, and I don't know which ones of these will go into the blanket and which ones of these won't. As I was buying at the store, I was like, ooh, I would love to do a pink version moving forward. So I was just starting to go crazy at Joann's, thinking I will never be at this store again, which I don't even know if that's true or not, because I don't know if my Joann's is closing. But I started with the Big Twist Twinkle, and I got 2 of these. I got one in the color Sapphire. I love that little sparkle there. And then I got one in the color Mulberry, which, ooh, that's a really good red. Love me a good red. Then I picked up Lion Brand Ice Cream, which is in the color Coffee. and it's got just kind of these like white and tan swirls. I also think that's gorgeous, and it's a really soft yarn. I think it was in the baby section, you know, where they have like all the baby yarn, so it's a really, really soft yarn. Then I stopped by, at least in my Joann's, they have like this one little end cap where they put all of their gradients, and I decided to stop by there. They didn't have much. My Joann's was also like low in stock on almost everything, but I got 2 gradients. So I have one Lion Brand Mandala ombre, which is in the color Felicity. So it's got like a lot of pinks, and they kind of go into almost like a black gray color. And then I got one in, which is the Lion Brand Mandala Gradient, which is in the color burgundy. I love this. I've had my eyes on the burgundy for a long time, just to make, honestly, a cardigan out of. And I'm really glad that even if Joann's goes out of business, I could get this online one day and make something, but I would get the jumbo one, not the little one. But that would be down the road. I have too much yarn right now. We are going on a ban after this. Only a little bit left. So then I got the Karen Simply Soft Speckle, and I got it in the color Wisteria. So, oh, I have that upside down. And this is, oh, this one is yummy. I definitely want to use this in the blanket, and it's also simply soft. Then the last 3 are in Big Twist Value brand, and they're all kind of gradients of some type. So the first one I got was Unicorn Magic, which has this like blue, purple, pink, white gradient. The next one is called Purple Ombre, and it's definitely more of like a pink red, I would say, less of a purple in color, but it's gorgeous. And then the last one is Mystic Mermaid, and it reminds me kind of the bisexual flag. I actually really like it. But I'm not as huge of a fan of this like hot pink normally, but I think here it works really well. So I don't know out of those yarns which ones will make it into the blanket. Out of the first ones I showed, definitely all of those are making it into the blanket, but I'm gonna have to go through like all of them together. I will do a video on me making my star blanket. I didn't do a special video of me making my friend's blanket because I kind of had to hide it while I was working on it, because like she couldn't see it, and she follows me places online. I will be making this new one for you all so you can kind of see like the fun, exciting, like how I think to put the colors together and how I combine things and all of that. But I wanted to do this yarn haul first because, oh my goodness, I bought so much yarn. Sometimes we do things, and that's fine. I'm just going to definitely be going on a yarn buying ban. I don't even want to call it that because I think the word ban makes me kind of freak out a little bit. So we're just going to be going on a hiatus until I can get my yarn that I have at home under control. And what works for me is like putting actual like physical rules on that. So like if I can go through 10 pounds of yarn, or if I can use up 20 skeins of yarn, I just have to figure out what those rules are. I know a lot of people who watch videos like these have their own yarn buying bans and have their own rules for what they can do. Sometimes it's like I have to do a whole entire month or a whole entire year, or I have to make like so many projects. If you have your own rules, let me know, because I would like to know what those kind of rules are so that I can kind of have them circulating in my head when I'm going to be making my own rules soon. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this kind of content, I will definitely be making more and sharing more on my YouTube channel. So you can give me a like, give me a follow. I would really appreciate that. I am working on making videos as much as I can. Right now I don't have a schedule, but we'll be working on that. And I make all kinds of crocheting fun videos, tutorials, vlogs, yarn content. I hope we can become friends and chat down in the comments. So bye.